Welcome to Generator, your view into the ever-evolving and vibrant art scene in Ireland today. On tonight's show we have the fifth artist from the Generator Group exhibition, painter Eleanor McCaughey. We join her at her studio to talk collectibles and about her art. We pay a visit to White Lady Art on Wellington Quay, where we meet with owner Alexa McDermott to chat about the new contemporary art gallery and shop that exhibits some of Ireland's best lowbrow and pop surrealist art. First up, we have Owen Harris and Basil from bitSmith Indie Games, who discuss the crossover between art and gaming and tell us about their own hand-drawn and hand-painted game, Shroud of Morrigan.
My name is Owen Harris. I'm one of the game designers in bitSmith Games.
So I'm Basil. I do the art for most of bitSmith Games.
bitSmith started out with just three of us, myself and Basil and Ralph Crowley. We were all students in master's programs in DIT, and we met there. We found we had similar tastes for making things. We worked on a project together and we decided to take it to the next level. Out of college, we entered into a business accelerator program called the NDRC Launchpad. That gave us a couple of quid and we were able to go looking for a level designer, which was some skills that we lacked on the team. So we found Paul Conway, who's a really, really talented guy. He did some great work on mods for one of my favorite games. And we met him through an industry event. Then Enterprise Ireland, we got our competitive start fund off them, which allowed us to approach Robbie, who's our lead programmer now. Robbie really impressed me at another industry event, having released 3 games.
So was started from a college project. It was actually Owen's idea initially in college, and we had to do presentations in front of everyone to just kind of say what kind of projects we were doing. And Owen was talking about trying to make a Zelda-like thing, harking back to the old days of top-down Link's Awakening type of game. Well, I wouldn't call myself an artist because I didn't do art school or anything like that. So really at the start we were I just got into kind of drawing and stuff. Again, I used to do it loads as a kid, but had a 4 or 5 year hiatus while I went to college. So really we were all kind of learning things all over again. But we did kind of go with the hand sketch look. That was a thing from the start, because our first prototype was just a black and white pencil drawn on a piece of pencil and paper, and then Owen got it working in Engine. And we kind of liked the look, and we also thought it's something unique that hadn't been done before. We don't really see very many, for a good reason now we know, because the workflow is unbelievable, but we don't see very many hand-drawn and hand-painted and animated games, so we thought it'd give us a bit of an edge in terms of visuals.
The way it looks is absolutely my favourite part of the game. Baz has been very, very modest now, as he is. Baz is a fantastic artist, and looking through his portfolio when we started this project, his hand sketches were just so strong, so evocative and interesting, that we knew that it just made sense to go with a hand-drawn game. I'd always wanted to do a game drawn in pencil as well. I don't know, there's something about it that really grabbed me. I love the way that first prototype looked before it was colorized, even just all the little pencil sketches running around. We might revisit that again at some stage. I think if we look at the movie industry, you know, when film started off, it was primarily a technical skill set. It was all about, for many years, just trying to represent reality as accurately as possible, and just doing bigger and better and bigger and better and bigger and better. And then once that was mastered, then in the 70s we saw these interesting films for the first time popping up, doing something a bit different. I mean, we couldn't have gotten to a point when Easy Rider was released without going through that initial first process where it was all about the technical skills. And I feel we're just about to crest that moment with games. We've mastered representing reality perfectly, or close to perfectly, but to me, that's quite boring. I mean, I can experience reality already. I can experience reality in wonderful fidelity. That's not what I want. I want weirdness. I want things that I can't experience. So for me, the kind of games that I want to play, the kind of games that I want to make, are games that do bring me to a place I can't walk around in myself. I think when a lot of people think about games, they only think about programming, and to be sure, programming is a very large part of games, but really games are made up of programming, design, game design, graphic design, concept art, 3D art, music, sound, production. Really, all of the artistic disciplines are funneled into almost every game. What do you think, Baz?
Yeah, I agree. It highly depends as well which industry you go into. And by industry, I mean there's the indie industry, which is coming up, and it's exploded in the last few years, and the AAA industry. And in the AAA industry, you're much more likely to be specialized, and if you're a lighting guy, you do lighting, and you just do lighting, and you do loads and loads of scenes of lighting, but that's what you do. Whereas in the indie scene, you need to be a bit more of a jack of all trades.
Right now, as of this moment, the game is available on iPhone and iPad, Android, PC, Mac, Linux, Ouya, Chrome, all in the works, all coming very soon. And hopefully by the time you see this, it'll be on Steam. If it's on Steam, we'll all be very happy.
My name is Alexa and I curate and direct the artworks in the White Lady Art Gallery on Wellington Quay. I started off in uni doing history of art, and from then just grew to love all different kinds of art and was always looking to see who the new artists were in Ireland, but in Europe and America, in the UK, everywhere else. And discovered through working for a website called DCTV about this kind of art which is called lowbrow or pop surrealism, which in a nutshell is artists who are technically incredible at what they do. They might work in acrylics or oils or watercolor or whatever, but instead of choosing subject matter that you might expect, I suppose, from just going to galleries in general, sort of just contemporary art galleries, they would take elements of pop culture and usually find some humorous way of making a comment on politics or some kind of social comment. And I just really enjoyed that. Or they might even, it might just be purely for beauty and they want to, you know, paint their friends or something like that. But they'd always be mad friends, you know, like artists don't have normal friends, they have crazy friends. I got interested in that and was looking for that over here in Ireland. I've been here 10 years and didn't see anything. Every now and then you get a great pop-up exhibition which would happen for a week or something like that. So you wouldn't want to blink and miss it. You'd have to go and make sure that you're kind of keeping up to date with that. So I go with a camera, try and get in touch with the artist beforehand and film the show, because I really wanted to try and document this that was going on. No one else seemed to be doing it. So that's how the whiteladyart.com started. It was for interviews for these artists and to document these exhibitions that were going on. I decided to call the gallery White Lady Art because, as I said, I've been here 10 years now, and one of the things I noticed being a foreigner in Dublin is just by literally looking around, you're on the top deck of a bus, you're looking into people's houses, because I'm nosy and I do that, and you sight, so every now and then you'll see this white lady reclining on a rock, and this is what I call the White Lady Art, White Lady statue. And I was just, as lots of people I've since talked to have found, that we want to know what that's all about. And you start mentioning it to people and everyone's got a theory, which is it's a calling card for you go there to buy your drugs, or someone's got a relative in prison, or someone, it's always a little bit dark, a little bit kind of dodgy, I think perhaps because it's kind of suggestive, the way she's posing, or the fact that people have them and there might be 6 windows in a flat or a house or something and you've got one in each window. So I started doing some research into it, and there's a little short film that I found on YouTube of this American woman who came over and had the same idea and went and filmed it and started talking to people. And there's this whole backstory on how the statue was made by an artist who then passed away, and his widow found the statue in the attic and gave it to a friend of the family who is now running Dublin Mouldings up on Parnell Street. And they took it happily and said, this is great, we'll make a few, see what happens. And it just took off, and it's just a fad, and it's just because people like it and they want to know, they just want to have it in their house, you know? I mean, it doesn't mean anything, it's just a weird kind of thing that happened that just took off, like a fashion thing, I don't know. But it's cool, and that for me is like the epitome of sort of cool, kitsch, weird, the strangeness of Dublin, and it's just charming, and I liked it, and I wanted to use that logo because it's instantly recognizable and people are curious. They'll come in even just to talk to you about it. So it's a good hook. In May, just the last month gone, there was Katharina Rupert and Mark Mix, who had an exhibition called Third World, where they explored where the country that they were from. So Mark is from South Africa, Katharina's from Mexico, and they were talking about, in their work, what immigration is and how it affects you as an artist coming into a new country, and sort of the attitudes people have towards them and towards immigrants and people who've emigrated in general, coming to a place like Ireland, but also like in a broader context as well, you know. So this would be stuff that's relevant to them, and that would be an element of new contemporary. I mean, it's so broad that you could almost say that, you know, anything that is relevant to now is new contemporary. There's been 9 exhibitions since I opened in November, and we started off with 2 every month, and that was not a good idea because sleep is also important, as I came to realise. So since then we've decided to do it once a month, and the artists that I've exhibited have ranged from street art to illustration to pop surrealism and to modern Gothic, and we've got a great lineup of shows coming up over the summer and for the end of the year as well, and there's a great variation not only in the styles but also from I suppose nationality and background of all these different artists. I like to think that they feel supported by me and the gallery because beforehand, as far as I know, there really wasn't a space in Dublin that would accept such a big diversity of artists in this new contemporary style, purely because I think there's a lack of understanding. I don't think it's because people just didn't want to give them the time of day. I think there's a lot to do with galleries have to be really careful at the moment with who they exhibit, because if you've got something new that isn't, you know, going to be snapped up in a hurry, then you run the risk of not being able to pay your rent, and quite frankly, that's you finished then. So I'm taking that risk because I just am. I just haven't got anything. I've got a lot to lose, but I just want to give it a shot because this gallery is a lot like the galleries that are doing well and are exhibiting this similar kind of style in America and Europe. So I'm working on the basis that all it takes is a bit of promotion and showing people what's out there and showing the Irish public that there are Irish artists who are doing this incredible art, and just to give them a space where you can consistently come back and expect this high quality work but in this new unusual style. Opening the gallery now with all the money stuff going on is difficult, of course, as you would expect it to be, not only because buying art is a luxury thing for people, but just generally opening a business in a recession is mad. And the only excuse I have for it is that I'm not prepared to wait any longer for a place like this in Dublin, so if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. It's the way around that, as far as I know, only having done this for 7 or 8 months now, and proof will be in the pudding, but is that you've got to have your primary business, the art gallery, but at the same time there's a lot of other stuff that we're doing in here which will hopefully mean that we will float. We've got a shop area in the front which is selling affordable items from the artists that are made themselves, like jewellery, postcards, prints, that sort of thing. So people can come in with a fiver and still leave with something, or if people want to get a beautiful piece of original art, obviously that's still available too. So I think what we're trying to do here, which other galleries aren't, is have this place really accessible to everybody, whether you're somebody who collects work on a regular basis, or you're somebody who doesn't even think that they like art, but someone dragged you along on a Friday night, we'll do this before we'll go off to the pub, twist your arm, and then you come in and you actually realise that this art is amazing, haven't seen this before, and you haven't broken the bank, and actually the people here are not snobs or whatever people might have imagined it would be in an art gallery. So with any luck, it's making it more accessible to people. What I'd like to do is continue that and develop it over the next few months and years, with working closely with a great load of people who work for a company called Super Happy Fun Times. And they organise the music that happens here on a opening night. And they're going to start their own show where they interview the musicians in this gallery. So it's going to be a space for lots of different creative people. We're going to have workshops in here for different kind of craft things that you might want to do. We've got origami coming up. We have had a photography course in here, and we're going to continue doing those sorts of things. We've got a basement area as well, which is going to be used by a street artist called Katharina Rupert, and she will be working here consistently for the next few months, which will be great. And I'd like to have that as a studio space sort of indefinitely. So that's going to be really exciting, and a whole new aspect to this place. So it's always evolving, it's really organic, it's like everything just sort of happens. People might come in with a new idea and we'll talk it through, and it just sort of, it's just a question of having all these people all in one melting pot, really. Like, it's bound to happen, like there's nothing stagnant about it. And that, I think, stems from, as I said in the beginning, having it so open, and there's no agenda, and other than selling art, obviously, but there's no sort of prerequisite anything. You just come in and say what you want to say, and if we can do something with it, we'll do it, and if we can't, then we'll figure it out for a few months down the line or something. So yeah, it's sort of taking on a life of its own, which is great. And yeah, I've got high hopes for staying open, which will be great.
McCaughey and I'm an artist in Dublin. I live and work here and I work from my house in my studio and yeah, it's good. I graduated from DIT 2 years ago. Went back to college as a mature student to do fine art and I studied graphic design before, so painting was pretty new to me, I suppose. And so graduated in 2011 and I have been in shows and stuff since, so I've been working away and teaching to make money. Well, I teach after school classes for kids, and then I teach adult painting classes as well, so that's good. Yeah, because that brings in the income. Whereas, you know, with the recession and all, you know, like painting is not very stable. Like before the recession, I used to be in a lot of auctions with Adams auctioneers and that kind of thing. So the prices of your paintings would be a lot better. So now, you know, the prices of art has really come down, especially for contemporary painting as well, because I'm relatively new on the art scene. So before I went to college, my stuff was really, really figurative. Like I used to paint to get it to look as real as possible. I suppose I was trying to get a handle on painting itself, on the medium, trying to just to learn all the techniques I could. And I went to classes in Dublin. There was these two guys that they studied in the academy in New York. It was the Figurative Academy, and they decided that they'd set up an academy here. But it didn't happen, but they just set up evening classes, so I went to them and they showed us just kind of like the classical techniques, you know, like underpainting, how to prime your board, that kind of thing. It was really good, and so that was about like 8 evenings. And so then I took those techniques and just practiced and applied it to my own work. And so then that's why I kind of wanted to go into fine art then. My dad's business went under, like so many people at the minute, and so they were pretty much told to move out of their gaff, like, so it was pretty harsh. So, and it was really quick. It was so they had to pack up everything, and so there was so much stuff, like, because they were there for 30 years, like. So the 30 years worth of stuff, and we were just like packing it all in boxes, and it was really cool to kind of come across stuff that was just lying there since you were small, you know. So like all my old toys and all like old books and stuff. But I found these encyclopedias. A lot of people have them. I don't know if you've ever had them. They're the Childcraft series of books. They're kind of like something like this. I like those. And you've got like, this is a book about us. So it's kind of just to explain to kids just about, I don't know, why you need clothes. You need clothes to keep warm or whatever, like really kind of basic stuff. But the way they describe everything, it's actually kind of funny. And I remembered the book so well. I was going through them, and the images were just like they just came kind of flooding back. It was crazy because I suppose you know, in the 80s you didn't have the internet, so you just kind of looked at your books all the time. So I was like, oh, I can do some work from this. So I did a series of paintings, and like that's one of them there. That's called I See Signs, and that's to the imagery was from the encyclopedia, but it was to explain to kids about how some kids they can't speak or they can't hear, or about sign language and that kind of thing. So there was some really nice kind of images like from the 70s and those ones. But I grew up with the books from the 70s, but when I started the series, I started collecting them from like on the internet. So I'd go onto eBay and I found tons of them. So there was ones from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. So I was just collecting them, and there was amazing imagery in them. And they're also washed, you know, those really old images, and the old printing as well. It's really nice. You know, and as well, what's amazing at the minute is it's great Pinterest. It's amazing for collecting ideas and imagery, and you know, like these paintings are from like eBay. These are a continuation from the last series. So at the shows of the How and Why Library, I did a few talks, and then a lot of people, it kind of came up, the issue of you know, like collecting things, and like a lot of people on the internet, like when I was looking for these encyclopedias, people are crazy about them. Like people collect them, like I don't know, like people collect, I don't know, like shells shells or books or, you know, whatever. But yeah, so this issue came up about people collecting things, and I've friends that collect cameras, and there's a girl who collects like thimbles and, you know, teacups and stuff like this. So I kind of thought that was really interesting. And as well, since I moved into this house, I've kind of been, because there's so many charity shops around, I've been just like rooting around and collecting a lot of stuff, like ceramic cats and like strange things. But yeah, I started becoming quite interested in why people do this, and like what is it about ceramic cats that I like so much, you know, or what is it about like thimbles that girl likes, or just kind of the thing about collecting objects and kind of hoarding them in your house, you know. It's kind of interesting. So my most recent work is kind of, it's about that really. And so these paintings here, these are, a lot of people collect kind of old vintage dolls, and they're like, there's a huge community on Pinterest that like share images with each other, and they're always like scouting around eBay to try and find stuff. And so I started painting them. They're like portraits with the dolls. They're kind of like, I've painted them quite like portraits, but they're just kind of objects, I guess. I don't know, I always want to improve, you know. There's no point in painting if you don't want to improve. There's no point in doing anything if you don't want to improve. But I would like to, actually I really want to just exhibit abroad. It's quite small here, you know. I'd love to exhibit in America, in New York, or London. I exhibited in the Portrait Gallery in London before, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, oh, I'd love a show in London. So that's an ambition.
Thank you.